Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming on our individual journeys to Chap Nirvana. Now if you watch my channel for any length of time, you will know that I believe that shoes always have been and always will be the physical manifestation of the status of the wearer of those shoes. Nothing tells the world more about you than the state and the style of the shoes that you are wearing at any given time when you meet somebody new. If you're wearing scruffy, unkempt shoes, certainly it says something about you. If you wear shiny, well-styled shoes, it gives the impression that the person is well put together. So I'm always on the lookout for new brands, new things, new developments in the shoe world which will provide the style, the elegance that I'm looking for, but at the same time catering to my arguably quite shallow pockets. So it is with that curiosity and interest in men's footwear that I was actually quite intrigued when I received an email from a gentleman called Taro, who explained that he was the co-founder of a new-ish brand of men's footwear called Thomas Bird. Now I'd never heard of Thomas Bird, and that actually was fascinating because I was amazed to discover they operate out of Northamptonshire, which is clearly or arguably rather, the sort of shoe capital of the universe, it's fair to say, particularly for Goodyear welted shoes. Now, before I sort of wanted to go down the route of reviewing the shoes, I thought I'd like to meet up with somebody from the brand to discuss it a bit further. So I suggested this to Taro. As I was going to be in Northampton the week after we'd had our initial communication, I said, any chance we can catch a cup of tea together and I can quiz you about the brand. And I was delighted that Taro said yes. So we met for a cup of tea in Northampton's Shoe Museum and Town Museum in the middle of Northampton. And so we sat down and we had an hour-long conversation about Thomas Bird. Now, it was interesting to discover how a new brand gets going in this modern era, particularly in an industry which is heavily weighted with heritage brands which have been around 100, some of them nearly 200 years. So how do you get going? How do you get started in a market where there's so much competition? So Taro explained to me that he'd worked for a number of shoe companies in the past, had quite a bit of experience. His father, in fact, before him, had been a representative internationally for a number of shoe companies, and he'd formed a relationship with a gentleman called Adam, who was also active in the shoe industry as well. And together they had decided to embark upon a new endeavour, producing shoes which were a little more fashion forward, a little bit different from those dyed-in-the-wool heritage brands. Now, to come up with their identity, they went to the Northampton Museum by chance, where I was having my cup of tea with Taro, and they looked back into the archives of all of those 170 plus shoe factories which previously existed in that part of the world. And they happened across a factory run by a chap called Thomas Bird, who in his day was an innovative shoe manufacturer whose company operated, I think, from something like 1891 until they closed their doors in 1942, I think, in the middle of the Second World War. And they chose that to become the identity of their new brand, because Thomas Bird in his day had been an innovator. He had created a number of patents around new shoe styles. So they thought it kind of chimed well with the brand ethos that they intended for Thomas Bird. All of the shoes which are sold by Thomas Bird are actually designed in the United Kingdom and are manufactured in factories which have been creating shoes for generations in Italy, using the traditional Blake stitched style. So all of their shoes are Blake stitched, and looking through their catalogue of footwear, which is rather expansive, there is something for everybody, it's fair to say, from the traditional to the much more fashion forward and trendy. I noticed that they had pretty much everything covered, but a lot of their footwear I noted was, as I say, a little bit more fashionable. They told me that their inspiration for the designs harken back to the 1960s, just to show that style is cyclical, when London would have been the capital of music, of art and of fashion. And I noticed when I saw quite a few of their shoes, they were traditional, they were classically elegant, but with just a little bit of that hint of maybe the swinging 60s thrown in as well. A little bit more elongation, a little bit more, style to the edging of the footwear. It's almost indeterminable, but it gives you the impression these are just that little, designed with just those little intentions in mind. Now, very much an imperative part of the buying experience for me is the price, because like I said, I've got shallow pockets and I don't pay any more than I have to for the products which I seek to invest in. And I was pleased to see that Thomas Bird's prices are actually quite proportionate and approachable for the actual product that you're getting for your money. So a Blake Stitch shoe, handmade in a factory in Italy, this pair of Hampton penny loafers, 260 British pounds, with free shipping for almost all of the world and free returns as well. And in fact, when I was talking to Taro, he told me an interesting anecdote about how they'd had to arrange a return from a gentleman in Kazakhstan who had bought a pair of shoes. So they genuinely do free shipping and free returns anywhere in the world. So I'm going to talk about these shoes in just a moment, but for me it's worth pointing out the price point. If you are somebody for whom the budget is an important part of your buying decision, and you're looking at a guy who often thinks like that in my buying decisions, these come in at quite an approachable price. So upon looking through the Thomas Bird catalogue, I decided that I would like to try a pair of their penny loafers. And what I have here is their penny loafer Hampton model in dark brown suede. And I'll just run through some of the features of the shoe that actually attracted to me and made me sort of decide to bring this one into the collection. So what we see first of all, if you look at the saddle of the loafer, you see the little notch there. That is where the penny loafer gets its name, because children or students in preparatory school in years gone by in America used to put a penny in this little notch, ready for when they needed to use the telephone. And that is why the penny loafer got its name. So this particular model fits true to size. I'm a UK size 8 and it fits rather nicely. Nice brown suede, absolutely gorgeous, full genuine leather lining inside. And what I had noticed, what did attract me, was this slightly elongated, slightly chiseled toe, which I said is that leaning towards being a little bit more fashion forward. Now if you look underneath, this is also quite an attractive element here. So we have a Blake Stitch sole. So the upper is sewn directly onto the sole. Solidity, nice solid shoe. If you look at the heel, you'll notice there's a gentleman's notch here just taken out of the corner of the heel. If you wonder what's that all about, by taking that little notch off there, it makes it far less likely that you're going to catch your heel of your shoe in your trousers as you walk along or climbing a flight of stairs. So the better quality shoes, you will notice, have that little gentleman's notch cut away. If we look at the main part of the sole, you will see that it's a leather sole, but with this blue rubber insert. Now that's there for two reasons. Firstly, it's better for the wear of the sole, right? Leather wears rather quickly, but with a rubber insert at the ball of the foot, where your foot tends to strike the ground, it's going to wear much more slowly. Also, there's a lot more traction. I don't know if you've ever worn leather shoes on wet or slippery surfaces, but it is like walking on ice. So having this patch of rubber here gives you the best of both worlds. The sleek lines of leather, but also with the traction and the wear profile of a rubber sole. So you get sort of, two bites of the cherry there. So from my point of view, I've enjoyed wearing this pair. I haven't worn it many times, as you can see, the sole looks rather new, but I've been wearing it for, maybe a week or so on warm days where I've been wearing, loafers with a pair of chinos, and they've actually cut rather a pleasant dash. I have really enjoyed wearing them so far. Very comfortable, very sleek and stylish. I've already had a few comments. People noticed that I've been wearing loafers because I traditionally don't wear loafers. But yeah, I've been very pleased indeed. And as I say, at 260 British pounds, I think really rather approachable. So that has been my exploration of Thomas Bird. Now, before I round up, I just want to make one thing totally clear. This isn't sponsored content. I have not been paid to talk about Thomas Bird. This is merely my review of a brand which I have encountered, and I'm giving you my observations. If you buy shoes from them or not, it makes no difference to me. I'm just giving you my thoughts and opinions, having had the opportunity to speak to one of the co-founders of the brand and experience their footwear firsthand. I think they actually represent a pretty good price point and proposition for the quality of shoe which you get for the amount of money you're investing. Now, if somebody was to say to me, okay, I like the shoes, but why should I buy Thomas Bird, an unknown brand, opposed to taking maybe the same amount of money and investing in a shoe brand that I'm comfortable with? Maybe, shall we say, similar price point, similar part of the world, Loafer, right? Loafer shoes, very well known, big company, roughly the same price. Why would you go down the route of Thomas Bird? Well, quite frankly, from my point of view, it would be the designs. I think the designs are that little bit more fashion forward. They are designed with that inspiration, as I say, to the swinging 60s, where, I don't know, it's just tangibly notable when you see the shoes, handle them, wear them. They're somewhat different to those, maybe you may say, staid, traditional heritage men's footwear which you tend to see from brands like Loafer and so on. So that's the area which I think Thomas Bird occupy in the shoe world. I wish them all the best. I sincerely hope that they go on to great things, because I think there is a gap in the market for a brand which, I mean, just look at some of the patina jobs they're doing on some of their shoes. They are in essence works of art that you can wear on your feet. So I hope to see them carrying on in that vein, and I hope maybe to wear more of their shoes in the future. If you have enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, click subscribe. Don't forget, you can support the channel, drop me an email, leave me a comment. You could buy me a coffee. You can even become a patron and benefit from the additional video content which I make each and every week for my patrons. Links to which, everything is in the show notes below, as is the link to the Thomas Bird website. As I reiterate, I'm not associated with them. I don't make any money from this video. They're not paying me to talk about them. It was merely an independent review. So until the next time, take care, and I'll see you again very soon.